This video is about finding inequalities that define a region. So really it is the opposite of the previous video. You are given the coordinate system. You can clearly see that there are three lines, so there are three inequalities, and the unwanted regions are shaded. So you must now find these inequalities that will actually make up that region called R. Okay, so in this case, they make it easy. They say you must first find the equations for line L1 or L1, and L2. All right, so this comes back to coordinate geometry. We must be able to find equations. All right, so when we look at the first one, okay, this is L1, then we can see it's a horizontal line. Now remember people, I taught you that a horizontal line is, I draw a little mannequin, we show with our arm, this is the y-axis, so we learned that a y equals line is actually a horizontal line, okay? Or otherwise, this horizontal line cuts the y-axis at 1, so in this case, the equation is y equals 1. All right, now if we look at L2, remember we need to find an equation. I must maybe just write it down again. To find an equation, we must have one coordinate and the gradient. Okay, so we've got many coordinates. We can read off many coordinates. In this case, the coordinate read off is 0, 0, and 2, 4. We need two coordinates because we want to calculate the gradient. Okay, and the gradient is y change over x change. You take your coordinates, you substitute the values, and you get the gradient being 2. Now, because the line cuts the origin, so the y-axis is cut actually at 0, we therefore know that C is 0, okay? You could also now take your formula and substitute your gradient and one of the coordinates, and then you would still work out that C equals 0. So the next line, so L2 is defined by x equals y equals 2x. This line was y equals 1. Okay, then if we look at L3, again people, we need to have one coordinate and the gradient to find the equation. All right, so number one is you can read off two coordinates. Always use the x and y axis because that's easiest. So the two coordinates we read off is 0, 5 and 5, 0. So in step 1, we're going to calculate the gradient, okay? Calculate the gradient, y change over x change. In this case, it is -1. Then follow step 1 to 3, as I taught you in coordinate geometry. You use y equals mx plus c. In step 1, we substitute the gradient, which we have worked out. In step 2, we substitute one coordinate to find c, okay? Remember here, substitute the y and the x, and we calculate the value of c. And then step 3 is to write the equation with your calculated gradient and your calculated c. All right, so this line L3 is y equals minus 1x or minus x, just simply plus 5. Right, now importantly people, you must now find or define the inequalities. Remember, we have now found the equations, all right, the equations. Now in the next part, you will actually find the inequalities. Okay, so remember, if we look at this one, is y equals 1. That is the horizontal line. Okay, but it is not a solid line. It is a dotted line. So we already know that it will be either greater than or less than and no equals. Okay, it is given as a dotted line, so you know it's greater than or less than without an equals. So go to your Cartesian plane. The unwanted region is below the line. So below the line, people, means less than. But remember, you want to know that region that is unshaded. Therefore, your inequality is y is greater than 1. This is really reverse thinking. I repeat this again, but people, it only is going to work if you do it step by step. It's not a solid line, so you know it must be less than or greater than. Okay? Less than or greater than 1. You already got that. All right. Now you must figure out which one is it. Is it less than or greater than? Okay, you go to your shaded area. The shaded area is less than. And remember, the shaded area is the unwanted region. So you must now reverse less than to greater than. Then it becomes the wanted region. Really important, you must reverse that. Okay, if we look at L2, where y equals 2x, all right, it is a solid line. So because it's a solid line, you know it's going to be greater than or equal or less than and equal to 2x. Okay? To 2x. Now you must figure out which one is it. All right, again, let's look at the line. There's the line. The unwanted region is above, okay? Above is greater than. So the wanted region is less than. Y equal is less than or equal to 2x. All right? Remember, people, first check out the unwanted region, define that, and then you just simply reverse your inequality. Okay, if we look at the last line, y equals minus x plus 5, okay, this is the line. It is shaded upwards. The unwanted region is upwards. Upwards means it is greater than. So again, it must be less than or equal to minus x plus 5, right? From the solid line, you know that it must be less than or equal to or greater than or equal to minus x plus 5. Okay? Then the unwanted region is above, shaded above, so it is greater than, which means your inequality must read y is less than or equal to minus x plus 5. So in summary, in step 1, you must first find the equations. The equations are found by using the coordinate geometry information, where you must have a coordinate and a gradient. You will always have a whole lot of coordinates because the Cartesian plane is given. The gradient is needed to be calculated, okay? And from that, you then substitute your gradient, right? You substitute your coordinate, you find C, and you write your equation. That is coordinate geometry. Then in the second step, you must find the wanted region, okay? Because it is the one that is not colored, shaded. Remember, we shade the unwanted region. So firstly, look at your line and decide whether it's less than or greater than, or if it is a solid line, remember, less than and equal, greater than and equal. To what? Okay. Then you look at which side is shaded. The side that is shaded is the unwanted region. Okay. So you decide, is it greater than, in this case? That's the unwanted region. Therefore, your therefore your wanted region must be less than. So you must reverse from the unwanted region to the wanted region. Okay, I hope it is clear. This is just quite a lot of concentration to be able to do this.